Let's go. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I'm going to kick things off. I'm just going to introduce everybody and go over the quick agenda for today's dev call. So welcome to everyone today. We're going to go over the agent team roadmap. So we go over this every dev call. We're going to showcase our live, always changing roadmap of what our focus areas are. Fabri's going to go over that. And then Rai from our team has some amazing updates for the XMTP.chat. We have some new image support and some really great stuff to show. Fabri's going to go over KeyCheck, which is our new way that we can test agents and mini apps within the XMTP ecosystem. And we have some new SDK improvements and some big releases. And of course, we have our showcase today. We have Rocky that Teo built for the Basecamp event that happened last weekend. So a action-packed one. We're just going to get started and jump right in. So I'll pass it over to Fabri.
Hey, yeah, so big milestone today. We want to ship a V1 stable of Agent SDK. Maybe you can open up the card, Eric. Just click on the title. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so a lot is already done. That's the first GitHub issue is the thing that we were tracking on the XMTP.js SDK with Benny and Rai. Those were the pending items. So we consider the Agent SDK V1 to be ready, and we're going to release it today. So V1, it's basically targeting a lot of boilerplate code. We are optimizing the developer experience like a lot. I think some of the developers are already using it and already seeing the gains. It's not introducing any new capabilities, let's say, although indirectly it is. But yeah, I would say like V1 is focusing on just making the experience much, much better. And also to provide the stability that we achieve with Node SDK. Like it's, of course, inheriting a lot of logic around node restarting and the callback that we use. So there is not going to be any issues if you want to migrate once we have V1. It's going to be ready to perform migration. And V1 also comes with a lot of level ups in terms of tooling, like XMTP.chat is close to be feature complete, let's say, in parity with the inboxes on the ecosystem. And yeah, we also tested V1. It's deployed in our agents. It's been working for many days, and some of the partners are already integrating like hybrid. So it's been dogfood. And yeah, like XMTP agent examples is now defaulting to agent SDK. So all the examples are now using agent SDK, which was also like a testing and dog food. And yeah, I think it's now time for to go to mini check, Eric, or later in the call, because this is a good segue. But if not, then I can continue to talk about that later.
Yeah, let's go right into it.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Maybe you can also show or I can also show the page of mini apps.
The old building chat page.
Yeah, did we share it with the developers in the last call?
I think so. We're changing it currently, so maybe we do on the next one we can show the newest, the brand new one.
Okay, so now XMTP examples is defaulting to agent SDK. These are basically the same examples, but now that agent SDK is much, much less code, it gives us more space to start focusing on the next abstractions and the next unblockers. Yeah, like this is more relevant to newcomers, but if you want today to switch from Node SDK to agent SDK, you will see like a much more cleaner developer experience. If we go to the GM bot now, it's using two filters. In this case, I'm using a filter for adding tags in a group. So if the message that goes through text. Then I can use some predefined filters that come with Agent SDK, so I can see if it's a group or if it's a DM. If it's a DM, then I send GM. And if it's a group, I also check if my agent was tagged. So this is how it works. For example, in Base and in a group chat, if someone tags your agent, then this is the easiest way to detect that tag and answer only if it was tagged in a group. And we also we have some easy to call hooks. So when you start your agent and when you stop, you can also log information. And in this case, we are logging the address and the XMTP.chat URL. But we have some other useful, like this is a GM bot that is a standalone, and the standalone it's using log agent details. So log agent details logs you like the amount of conversations that you have, the SDK you're using, the amount of installations, the network, and key package information. So this is also baked in. And we also introduce a debug mode, because when you sometimes, as you know, the Node SDK and now Agent SDK, though they have as the source, the logic comes from the Rust library called libxmtp. And this Rust library has its own, let's say, logs and its own way of debugging. So by default, they are not surfaced in when we are running an agent. But now we can, instead of having to explain developers how to enable these Rust logs and how to decode them, we now have an easy to use environment variable that we can just put here true. And this is going to enable the Rust logs in warn mode, which is going to be more than enough for us to help debug if an issue arises, which it shouldn't. So yeah, this is baked in and already works. And right, in this case, okay, we have this debug method. And yeah, so debug, yeah, okay, I went too far. Debug needs a different setup, but we have this debug method that you can set up with that variable. DB path, now much cleaner. Like we are using a callback. So if you go, it was impossible to get the inbox ID before. So making this to intercept the DB path was kind of tricky. And now this is, again, much cleaner. In a single line, we can put the path that we want of our deployment platform. And then we can also make some dynamic name so we don't override it once we are deploying. This one is also nice. And yeah, so started to tinker with all of this and get into inline actions. And inline actions, I started to develop an inline action, and this happened to with you, Theo, like starts to get very large, the code base. And then I was thinking in ways to abstract it, because I wanted like an easy way to vibe code, basically, inline actions without getting lost or without reaching dead ends. So if I go to the inline action example, you will see that it's just an index file. So this index file is dog fooding. Well, first, the types are not published yet, so we need to wait on that. They are just copy pasted into the code. So this on types of the left. But also, we have now this one file, which is kind of like an utils for inline action. So everything was made in a way that was convenient for this index file to be clean. Yeah, experimental, but it's working pretty well. And what it allowed me to build was a bot named key check. So if I go to key check on Base or XMTP.chat, you're going to see something like this. You can just, if you talk to key check, it's going to reply how you can invoke it. So key check gives you information about everything inside the group and everything related to the app. So first we can check key packages, sometimes while debugging, especially from our side, but many of these tools are internal, but we can see the key packages, basically your encryption keys, how old they are, if they are between the range of dates that it works. Basically, if for example, after 3 months, key keys, if they were not used, they expired. So there are some nuances to that, and this gives information about that. We can check information. We can also fetch information from external key, inbox IDs and addresses. So again, this is very cryptic debugging tools, but just to show that it's possible and everything is possible through inline actions, which makes it like more convenient. I can get like information about the members of a group, right? So this could be added into any group, and then you get their addresses, their inbox ID. Sometimes this one grays out in base. But yeah, administrators, you can also like fork detection tools. This is everything you need to know if you're inside a group. Again, using debug tools that come from the Rust libraries and the encryption side. You can log the epochs that you're in. So each time someone gets added to a group, for example, all the keys rotate. And that's what it means is that the epoch levels up by 1. So all the keys at certain time and space are in a certain epoch. That ensures that everybody is talking to each other, and those epochs keep rotating as you change memberships, for example. Again, very cryptic stuff from the Rust logs, but if you are into it, this can become very useful. What else? And you can go into UX. So you can, for example, test. This is more for app developers. I want to test that reactions are working. I want to test that a reply is displaying well, just text. Markdown coming soon, but it was not displayed, so it was sent, but it's almost there. For example, yeah, I'm using a lot of Markdown in KeyCheck, but it's not yet supported. But this is going to look really, really nice. Like, for example, this is going to be bold titles and italic and playing with all those text that is going to make it just much more legible. Yeah, testing images. This is like a baked-in image that we can send, XMTP logo. For example, this is a thing that happens sometimes in base, like the image is not rendered at once, but if I go back and go in again, it does. So this is an easy way to replicate that while debugging. And yeah, transactions and deep links, which are not ready yet, but ideally every content type, we can just access it here very quickly. And finally, load testing also for app developers. Like if you want to create, I know, test push notifications or test consent, whatever you are testing, or just test the conversation lists, then you can invoke this load testing stuff, and this is going to send you a lot of groups, a lot of messages. You can even customize parameters. And yeah, so this is yeah, it's just a cool way to show abstracted inline actions. The code is open source, of course. An easy way to test different features, an easy way to add key check to a group while you are debugging, and learn more about how XMTP works. And yeah, also have fun doing it. So, and also a cool way for us to debug. For example, try is going to show how now we can send key check in XMTP.chat by name, but this should work. Yeah, so KeyChat also works in XMTP.chat because now inline actions are supported. So it's going to be like the same experience, right? Again, I can now load test, and this is going to work here. It's going to send messages to XMTP.chat. So yeah, interoperable and ready to go. So Benny is going to tell more about V1, but yeah, just to say that we are already using it and it's awesome, all the things that we can build. And yeah, really excited to see what else can you come up with.
Awesome. Thanks, Fabri. Do you want to drop the link to KeyCheck in the chat?
Yeah.
Let me show everybody. So we could have definitely used that for testing groups for Rocky.
Yeah,
All
KeyCheck now
right.
leaves a QA repo that we have. We use this QA repo for a lot of testing stuff, and we don't have I'm not going to talk about that maybe in the future, but yeah, some cool stuff here. So, but yeah, this is KeyCheck.
Awesome. Sweet. Right. You want to touch on XMTP.chat updates?
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen here. Hold on. I am not in the right browser window here. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so this is live on XMTP.chat now. Yeah, like Fabri said, the KeyCheck bot is live and working with inline actions. But also we've added these remote attachments. So you are able to, if I create a new group here, I can start fresh. But we support attachments up to 1 MB on XMTP.chat now. And they can be pictures or images. And this is going directly to IPFS and it's encrypted. So when it's sitting there in IPFS, it is encrypted. It can only be decrypted inside of this chat message here. So that is oh, that's too big. Let's see. Okay, sorry, that was an image, and I'll show you, let's see, a movie. Here we go. So this is a video. Again, it's using the video tag inside of the browser, so it will play in the preview here, and then we'll send it and loads it, and then again, it's using the video tag, so you'll be able to play both videos, and let's see if we get an audio. Here's an audio one. Same thing, using the audio tag in the browser. You can't hear this because I haven't shared audio, but you'll be able to play it, and then again, sending it will have the same effect, and you'll be able to play it directly in the chat. So that's remote attachments. One thing I'm working on now, it should land this week, hopefully either today or tomorrow. But this is me running the app locally. But for instance, we'll be able to resolve .eth and this is local, so this isn't going to work. But let me switch to the dev network so I can show you it actually working. Yeah, so keycheck.eth. So yeah, that resolved. I can hit create, and it will create with the keycheck bot. Hello / AC. And now I'm talking to the keycheck bot here. So yeah, so name resolution's coming when you are managing members, adding members, and then once that lands, we're going to actually be resolving, instead of this display where this is showing your inbox ID, we're going to resolve this to those names as well. So in this case, this would show keycheck.eth, and we'll also, of course, show this information for it as well. So you'll have access to that. And we'll be able to support ENS and base names box easily. We do have some support for forecaster.eth as well. The API we are using is called the Web3 Bio API, and it does profile, and it also resolves unstopped. So eventually we'll get all the stuff integrated into XMTP.chat. And that's all I got.
Thanks for sharing. So
Yes, yes, totally. Like, yeah, it's been like a lot of things inside. Hey, much of it. We will also land a 1.0, as Fabri said, because we have taken the feedback from the last two calls here, and we've been stabilizing the APIs. As Fabri said, we've been testing the agents like ourselves for days to see like how they perform and if they like run with a great wise. Otherwise, we also made some changes. Let me share my screen to also like show you some bits and pieces upcoming in the 1.0. So sharing Zoom and then demo. So you should see my VS Code, and in VS Code, I will show you like what can in the next release. So what is very cool here is that the agent is not just responsive. So far, it was mostly responsive. Yeah. For example, here we get a text in the agent and then react to the text. Yeah. This was the main model of working with agents. Then we thought, okay, how can we use the agent SDK to start a conversation? Not just reply to an existing one, but also starting one. This is where we got to some ideation phase, and we then implemented create DM with address, for example. Yeah, in this method call, you can then give in the address. Ethereum addresses is supported by default. Then you will get a new direct message conversation in which you can send a text. This will be in addition to the 1.0 feature set because it's mostly hardening, but we also have this functionality. In addition, we have create group with addresses. Yeah, that's for chats with multiple people. There you will get back a group conversation and then which you can also send messages. We also made updates to the context. In the context here, not in the start context. This is, by the way, also new that on start and stop, you get in context as well to access your agent. Yeah, in the case you want to do some cleanups on the streams or whatever you like. But we also have additional context here in message callbacks. For example, in the on text, we can access the context, and then we can find out more about what this message or conversation that we received was about. So, for example, we can get to know if it was a direct message that was being sent, if the context is a group conversation, and then, of course, have also the known ones that we can like send replies, but we can also see then if the context was a text message. So a lot of things that we in the previous versions did with filters, we have now accessible on the context, and the context underneath is using the filters. We also made some simplifications to the filters. As Fabri has shown, we mostly rely on filters inside of the callback. So in previous versions, we had a with filters schema here. So there was this with filters function. Then you pass it some filters. Then you put a comma, and then you put the callback as a second parameter. That worked, but it wasn't the most intuitive way. That's why we decided to remove the with filters and just rely on casual filtering with if conditions, and then you can combine many filters with with an or an ampersand sign. So this is more natural to what people have always been using. And this is like basically the major change. If you're upgrading them to the 1.0 and you've been using with filters, then that will be a breaking change that we removed that with filters function. Yeah, that's the 1.0. We are quite excited about it because it will also guarantee a level of functionality. For this purpose, we also added some sub packages. Let me show you that by example. We export now multiple subpaths. That means that when you import from XMTP/agent SDK, you will get the main functionality that we think is stable and ready to use. You will get the agent, you will get the middleware context that you need to use to build your own middleware. You will get the filter. All of that is packaged in the main path. But then we have subpaths as well. For example, you can import them from XMTP agent SDK/debug, for example. There we have a lot of debug utilities in there. Then you can import from /middleware, where we have predefined middleware, or from /user, where we have then all the user utils to create a new signer and then have that one as part of your client instance. So these extras we packaged now in these modules. They all come with the agent SDK. You don't need to install them separately. I also have that listed in the README. So for example, we have here XMTP agent SDK. This is where you get all the major stuff from that you've been probably already using, but then we'll also have /debug, for example, and then you get your get test URL from here. Yeah, these are then the extras. Extras are about to change. Yeah, these things, we don't guarantee them to be as stable as the major ones, because this is where we like have the main focus and where you say, okay, check mark, yeah, we have a lot of tests for that. We will announce breaking changes in there. For these extras, we are still not really sure if they will stay or not. This depends, of course, on your feedback. Yeah, and that's it about the 1.0 release.
Awesome. Where can someone go to see the 1.0 release and learn how to build in chat?
Yeah, happy to give you a tour.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Teo, you ready? Ready to showcase some Rocky?
So Rocky was the Basecamp agent, and it's still live, so anyone can message it. You can find it just by going into the Base app and sending a DM to Basecamp25 or Basecamp.base.eth. And they pinned it to Rocky, so you can sometimes it works when you search for Rocky in the Base app as well. And I can start with just kind of the simple flow and how things went there. It was a super useful tool to have just for everyone at the event to kind of coordinate a large number of people and help people know where they're going, figure out the basic logistics, and be social and engage with other people in their community. So I'll get to all the tools, like, one by one. And so the first piece we have is the schedule. So the schedule would show up and it would go to the Basecamp website, like link right in to the mini app. And previously the whole website was here. So I use quick actions to kind of direct the flow. So you could say something like, when is the pickleball tournament? On Monday. And one of the features that we added at the end of everything was because it was like a crunch time, so we added this quick actions to re-engage that main menu. Some places I feel like it looks weird with a little bit more time. We could have cleaned it up, but it was really helpful for the flow so people knew exactly what to do next. So right here, the pickleball tournament is scheduled for Monday from 3 to 5. Give some information about it, and then would you like me to add you to the Pickleball at Basecamp group chat? I'm actually already in it, but if you click yes, so it's not going to work for me, but it would go to the pickleball group. And that's going to be like a Basecamp pickleball group for people into pickleball. And you can kind of connect on that. We had groups for all of these things. So all the sessions, running, hiking, yoga, builders, mini apps, coining, the row session. So groups were created for all of these things and connected you. Like, so when you would register for an event or were heading to an event, you could actually join the group and know who was going to be there and then actually connect with them. So if we go into this group, the roast session, you'll actually see some broadcasts by some of the base team. And so the broadcasts were to I built this / broadcast tool to send out for allow listed members to send out like updates on what's happening, where people should go. In announcement, everyone come to dinner and jam on the lawn to close out the event. Come early at 6:15 and hang out with Jesse. So like the team at base was able to send these out to invite and welcome, like make everyone just know exactly where they need to go, because it's hard when you have a large event with that many people. If we go back to Rocky, is there anything else to help you with? So we have Wi-Fi. There's the Basecamp Wi-Fi. Shuttle information. And this I was going to go a little more in depth with, but what they had was all the shuttle times on their mini app. So you would just click that. It would go to the shuttle times. Concierge support, and if you hit yes, it would give you the emergency support of each hotel, the medic number, and different phone numbers. We actually built a feature for this that would send it to an allow list of the medic staff, but they weren't all onboarded to Base App. So just for liability reasons, we didn't roll it out just yet. But with my background working in like healthcare, that could be super useful for like just an urgently you need to reach someone and you can get right to someone. Let's say no, not urgent. And for not urgent matters, please send a message to concierge@base.org. And then the last feature is just the join groups. And so we had 4 standard groups. We had 20 total. The 16 of them were related to specific panels, specific events that were happening. And then 4 of them were for everyone to kind of jump into right when they open the app. So we have yoga, running, hiking, pickleball. And I'm going to already be in it, but that's essentially it for the demo of Rocky. And there's some other features as well that are a little hidden. But yeah, that was like, it was used by hundreds of people there. Almost everyone ended up using Rocky at Basecamp. And yeah, it's a big hit. If anyone has any questions, I'd love to take any questions or any feedback as well.
How do you plan to move forward with hey, what's up, Tio? It's Tanto. How do you plan to move forward with Rocky next? Like, do you see this as like continuing to work with the base team and rolling? I saw a DevConnect.chat there, so they seem to want to continue doing this. Is this like trying to be like concierge for events type of things? And what other features are you thinking about rolling out?
Yeah, I think like this was a good way to test out all the features and to see what people use and engage with the most. And like, the goal would be to build a framework so anyone or any event can launch an agent. Meanwhile, I would like custom build agents to build like, special for certain events that are happening within the base ecosystem. Right now, everyone, if I do it at an event, everyone needs to have a base app invite. That won't be a problem for too long, but I know that at DevConnect, Base will be giving out invites. That's the next on the list for events to build a custom agent for, or something kind of like what we did for Basecamp. Working on connecting all of the dots there and then building out the infrastructure so anyone with an event, big or small, can go in and select the tools that they want to use and just hit a button to create an agent after entering some information.
That's awesome, man. Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Teo. Anyone else have any questions about about Basecamp, about Rocky, about XMTP.chat, Agent SDK? There's a lot today. Let's see.
I feel like that create group tool is going to be really helpful for what I'm doing. I'm excited for that. I'm going to play around with that today.
Yeah, Create Group's massive, right? Because it gets the right people in the right space to be able to have that kind of curated, smaller private feed, right? I love that. And yeah, even having like agents that are already in there or mini apps, games, anything in there that can bring those people together, I think is a thing.
I got the my win of the week was I got the spend permission manager contract working for a transaction. So you can pre-authorize a certain amount of USDC, and then you can say like buy me 1 ticket for the next 30 days, and you can sign once, and then it'll just start buying you Megapot tickets or whatever. I originally built that for Megapot because I'm still trying to finish the agent for Patrick, and I think it's pretty much ready to go now. We keep like waiting to review it, so I keep getting a new idea for a feature, and then all of a sudden it's feature dev again on something that should be launched. But yeah, that was my little win for the week, which I think
That's
would be.
huge.
I actually thought of spinning that out into its own like example in the example repo, because it's sort of like managing pre-allowances for agents is basically boilerplate code. Like it's like the extension of like managing a transaction framework easily for the agent too. So I thought, and then also you can react now with the middleware, right? We can react for reactions. So if you like react in a chat with a money bag, you can buy that person a ticket now, which I think is kind of funny. Buy them a lottery ticket, because playing with programmatic incentives, you like, Noise was like tipping with likes, but it doesn't have to be a tip. It can be a purchase a lottery ticket or any anything on chain. So yeah, that was my win for the week.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah, please share that, Tonto.
Yeah, sure. I will. I'll think I'll PR. I'll update it to AgentKit, and then I'll PR that like isolated example where it just like tips or sends or does something based off of reactions with the pre-allowance in the examples repo. Because I think it'll be really helpful for anyone who's playing with. I get all my good ideas from Banker. You know what I mean? I chat with the agent. I'm like, can you do this? He's like, yes, I can. I'm like, I'll reverse engineer it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hey guys,
Tony, do you have a thought? Yeah, go ahead.
I did. I just wanted to say it's super encouraging to see the progress you guys have made in these different vectors because I'm developing kind of core infrastructure for our decentralized marketplace, and I have this stub for XMTP, and I've taken a couple of runs at it, over the course of the last year. But what you guys are working on is really super important for the things that I want to do with the create group chat. Works for a social feature that we're doing, and the ability to plug in agents. It's all like super relevant. So just my hat is off to you guys during this last really several years of kind of dry, hard grinding, and to see the evolution take place is super encouraging. Like the Web3 needs this platform. So please don't stop. Please don't stop.
Oh, we're just getting started. We're just
Yeah,
getting started.
it's awesome. Super encouraging to see all this progress.
Love that. Thanks, Tony. How else can we help you? Like, what do you need from us to get your dreams realized?
For now, I'm just grinding on all of this e-commerce stuff. I've created a decentralized cannabis marketplace for B2B cannabis under a grant from Hedera Hashgraph. And along the way, developed some consumer-facing apps too. And decentralized chat is going to be a huge part of it. And it's like a whole third of my roadmap is dependent on decentralized communications in the group chat and everything. So I'm just like, marking all those places in my brain of where it's going to plug in. So you guys just keep doing what you're doing. And when I have time, I'll raise my head up and get a deployment going.
So you're trying to add XMTP.chat to a marijuana e-commerce website, is that right?
Yes, and also the consumer kind of social network. We're doing something really innovative where a consumer comes in, purchases product, will get an offer and scan a QR code to take advantage of the offer. And what happens is they verify their device, we validate their device, and then we create a Hedera wallet and deliver an NFT that corresponds with the product that they bought. And when they provide product feedback on that product, they unlock the NFT, which can be redeemed at the point of sale for more product. And so that individual node, when we create their wallet and deliver their NFT, we also want to then be able to allow them to send that to friends via an SMTP prompt that will then instantiate a wallet for the recipient when they validate their phone. And I just want to have the messaging baked in.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds like I've growth hacked for the cannabis industry for years, so I'm very
No kidding.
Yeah,
Okay.
very familiar with cannabis tech and stuff. So I think like there's probably a use case for that. That's cool. Why Hedera? Do you mind if I ask? Like, because I'm just curious. Like Hedera, didn't they get acquired by the Linux Foundation? I'm wondering what the link is between Hedera and this stack. Like, why?
No, they didn't acquire it. They donated the code to the Linux Foundation.
Okay.
They're super stable. It's just the performance, the quality of performance, and finality and speed and predictable costs of Hedera that make it pretty much for enterprise applications, non-speculative crypto, DeFi shit, but just for real enterprise applications, it's the only ledger that I can invest in. I don't think any of them will scale other than Hedera. So that's why I chose Hedera. Also, we're doing stable coins. We're settling these transactions in stable coins. And we're working with a company called Braille.xyz, which is a regulated stablecoin infrastructure. And when they added Hedera, we got the grant from Hedera. They added Hedera. It just made sense. It just made sense. So for the challenges with Hedera on XMTP, we're probably going to use like a dual key architecture where we have the ETH address to house the messaging ID, and then we'll have just basically attaching using the Hedera network for the transactions and commerce.
I see. Interesting. Cool. I might pick your brain about that later, or feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I think seems I have expertise in a lot of overlapping fields there.
Yeah, let's definitely hop on. Like, I'm in the Telegram. Do you want to tag me on the Telegram and we can start a chat?
I think we might actually have DMs. I think you reached out to me after the hackathon a few months back.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
I'll find you though. I'll find you. What was your name again?
Tony Camaro, Camero.
I'll find you in the Telegram.
Cool, man. Cool.
Oh, we don't use Telegram anymore, guys. Come on.
That's so true. He said Telegram. Find you in the XMTP agent.
I just dropped the link. Yeah, I think you're in the XMTP chat. I know, Tonto, I know you're in there. But Tony, I just dropped a link to that chat. You should be able to join if you have the base app. And if you don't have the base app, I can get you an invite link.
Okay. Yeah, get me an invite.
All right, perfect. I'll send one to you right now. Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Sweet.
Any other thoughts?
Just great job on the feature parity from XMTP.chat. That's going to improve DevX so much. And like, yeah, bullish on that. And thanks for all the work on the agent kit as well. I think personally, most devs are going to be vibe coding these agents anyways, giving them like a better foundation to vibe code on top of, rather than just like the Node SDK and a switch statement, is going to lead to smaller, better, cleaner code. I'm bullish on all these updates from you guys. Thanks so much.
Always count on you, Tonto. Thanks for hanging. All right, guys. Thanks so much. And we'll see you next time.